I'm going to start my report, and we ask you if you would, for the next 12 minutes, watch a video that we have for you, and then I'll come after that video and give the rest of my report. Hello, my name is David Crowe, and I'm the CEO of Crowe Baptist North American Ministries. And I, along with my staff, want to share with you some exciting plans we have for our department. In July of 2020, the men on my staff joined me and our board chairman, Jeff Jones, in a 3-day retreat. We came out of that retreat with a renewed vision and a 5-year plan for North American Ministries. So listen very carefully as my staff shares with you those exciting plans as they relate to their specific areas of responsibilities. And let me thank you in advance for your attention.
Although our exact numbers are always changing, our goal by 2025 is to have 55 English-speaking church planters on the field. We currently have 44 church planters serving in 23 different states and U.S. territories. One thing we see great value in is training for our church planters. That's why we've been working to develop a new non-resident church planter internship program. This new internship program will allow our new church planters to receive valuable training while remaining at their current ministry. We believe this new internship program will be a great resource to our overall training program. Another one of our goals is actually already being accomplished. That goal is to have an on-site assessment center. This will be the first time Free Will Baptist will have had an on-site church planter assessment center. We just recently had our first candidate couple go through the assessment process. We believe this will be a great addition to our overall assessment process.
North American Ministries is the agency charged by our Free Will Baptist denomination to plant churches across North America. And our goal here is to have our church planters go and plant reproducing, healthy, disciple-making churches. You may ask, why do we need to do that? The Great Commission is why we need to do that. According to Scripture, we're to go into all the world and preach the gospel. And so unless we strengthen our home base here in North America, we will not have the support that we need to be able to send out our international workers around the world. And so one of our major tasks charged to us by our denomination is to do just that, to send out church planters. And so we're charged with recruiting, assessing, training, and guiding our church planters to go into these places where there are no evangelical churches. Of course, other things that we're involved in are also we're the endorsing agency for our chaplaincy program. We are also involved in trying to reach the growing Hispanic population here in the United States. Our men's programs, Masters Men, Disaster Relief. We are also very much involved in revitalization of our struggling churches here in North America. And so I'm working in conjunction with our executive office. We have a Fresh Wind program that we're training coaches to be able to go into these struggling churches and to help them to revitalize, to be more effective in reaching the neighborhoods in which they are ministering. North American Ministries covers an awful lot of different areas of work. And so thank you so much for all that you're doing, what you're going to do to help us at North American Ministries reach the ends of the earth.
Well, I'm excited about what North American Ministry is doing with the Hispanics. I work with the Hispanic Ministry in the United States of America, and Brother David has given us a goal by the year 2025 that we want to establish 100 Hispanic missions in the United States of America. We have about 52 now, so we've got about 48 to go. In order to do that, we are asking our Hispanic pastors that are working now that they would send more students to the North American Ministry Bible Institute. The Bible Institute is located in Bartlesville, Oklahoma, and we've been sending students through the Institute for somewhere around 20 years. We've graduated about 382 students, and then within that, they're the ones that's establishing churches, going back to their own home in their country, and establishing Free Will Baptist churches there as well. More than that, we're trying to get to where we can translate more publications of authors of the Free Will Baptist, so that our people will have Free Will Baptist doctrine in their hands and have books that they can read under Free Will Baptist authors. We also are developing a yearly youth camp that we're hoping to get all of our Hispanics work involved in, that we can all come together once a year with our youth and their family. It's not just a youth camp, it'll be a family camp. We have that now in McAlester, Oklahoma. And so if we can get all of our churches involved in this, sending their family there, it's going to be a great time for us and a teaching time for us. We want to encourage all of our American churches that they would think about their neighbors that doesn't speak their language, don't look quite like them, but need the Lord. And so we're hoping to get more churches that would loan us their building for a couple hours a week, that we could put a missionary there to preach the gospel. God has brought the mission field to us, and I think we need to work with that mission field. Also, we're trying to create a board of Hispanic pastors. We have some of the greatest pastors that I've ever known. Missionaries, know how to build churches, know about the Word of God, know how to preach the Word, teach the Word. And we're hoping to develop a council of our pastors that they will be able to develop a program for the future for the Free Will Baptist Hispanic Ministry that not only will be a part of the Free Will Baptist, but will be a growing part of the Free Will Baptist, and we'll be able to participate and contribute to the Free Will Baptist movement. God blessing, I think we can, that He'll do all of this for us.
Well, hello, my name is Terry Austin. I serve as the Chaplain Support Officer for North American Ministries. It's a great privilege and it's a great opportunity to share with you, our churches, the opportunities that we have to serve as chaplains. First of all, when you consider the chaplaincy, consider it as a calling. That's like the cornerstone of everything that you want to do from there on out. And the opportunities as a chaplain are just numerous. I mean, from being an active duty military chaplain to chaplain of a hospital, chaplain in the Civil Air Patrol, police force, many things, many opportunities that you have to serve as chaplains. Now we can help you do that. We can help you accomplish God's will for your life if you want to be a chaplain. So I would encourage you, if you have any idea or you have any thought, any inclination, if you believe it's a calling, give us a call and allow us to help you fulfill God's will for your life. Don't limit yourself to just a military chaplain, because you have the opportunity to go out into your community and be a blessing to them by serving as a volunteer. Just the opportunities are many. It all begins with a calling, but I believe that the chaplaincy will be a great blessing to you, your community, your church, and everybody involved. It's just a great opportunity. So if we can help you, please let us know. I want to help you accomplish God's will for your life as a chaplain.
At Masters Men, one of the things we want to do for the future is develop a program for junior high and high school students, young men, to give them life skills, things like carpentry, car, auto mechanics, different things like that. And one of the reasons is we want to get young men involved in the ministry of Masters Men, and we hope this would be one thing. Another point to that is that we want to help single moms during this time. We know a lot of women are raising boys on their own and need male influence, and we know that some dads spend a lot of time working and such, so it would help them. And the third thing is we want to develop servants. Masters Men has always been about getting our men involved in ministry, starting at a young age would be good. Several years ago, we discontinued our national retreat. We'd like to get that started back up. We currently have 20 Bible studies available. We're working on having 2 of those right now translated into Spanish. We're going to be working with our translators, hopefully within the next few years, to get at least 10 of those developed into Spanish to reach that growing ministry, to help our Spanish-speaking men to develop into godly men. Our disaster response has been the biggest part of Masters Men for several years now. Back in 2005, we set this up right before Hurricane Katrina hit. Since that time, we developed and been able to add a lot of equipment such. Recently, because of a gift from a donor, we were able to buy a mobile command center that is going to allow us to go in and have sleeping facilities, shower facilities, and storage facilities. We're looking, hopefully, in the near future to be able to purchase a skid steer, what some people might call a bobcat, to be able to go in and help. We found out this is one of the most valuable tools. One of these, with the right equipment, can take the place of 10 men on a work site and would really benefit what we're doing. SELF is an investment and loan program that was set up almost 40 years ago. And what it is a way for individuals to invest money that is then used to loan out to other churches and ministries to buy or improve on property that they have. Currently, our rates start out at 2.5% on investments at a minimum of $500 and go up in 0.5% increments up to 4% for $100,000 and more. Because we're not a bank, we're not secured by FDIC, but what we are secured by are churches and ministries and real property. All of the loans that we make are to churches and different ministries to buy buildings and to expand the work that we have. For a loan process, we have a 3-page loan application that we can provide, and then a letter stating other things that we need from them. Part of that would be a fair market value on the property that we're financing. The other thing would be bank statements, just basically letting us know that the money we loan out that is invested with us from individuals and churches can be paid back. And that's a simple process that we have. We look it over. If everything looks good, we send that on to our board, and at that time they will make the decision on the loan process.
As you can see, we have a lot of exciting plans as well as a lot of hard work ahead of us. We can't accomplish these things alone, but with God's help and your faithful support and prayers, we can not only meet these goals, we can exceed them for God's glory. So join us, and together let's build bridges to the lost. When we ended 2019, we found that we had had a record year financially in the history of our department. We ended that year $961,000 in the black. And that was a great thing because that helped to carry us through the following year, 2020. It helped us in such a great way to be able to continue to minister to our church planters and our chaplains and all the areas that we minister to. It allowed us to keep paying. Nobody missed a dime of their salary and their paycheck. Every church planter was paid, and every staff person was paid. And so we thank God for that through that time. And it was in July of last year, in 2020, during the midst of the pandemic, that I took my staff, the men on my staff. There was 7 of us that went, and we spent 3 days and 2 nights praying, planning, discussing what we felt like God had for our department for the next 5 years. Well, 1 year of that has already passed, and I have to tell you, we already going to have to readjust some of our goals we set. For Church Extension Loan Fund, we set a goal to have $100 million in assets. Now, that's not our money, that's investors' money that we loan back out to churches and ministries. Our goal was to reach that $100 million mark. We were right around around 80 million when we set that goal last year. Well, what we found is that right now we have almost 98 million in total assets. In the last year, through the pandemic, we increased $18 million in assets. So we're going to have to readjust that goal because we may hit 100 million before the end of this year. So we're going to adjust that. We also set a goal to have 20 chaplains, either actively serving or in the pipeline, that are either finishing their education, their ministry experience, or serving as a chaplain candidate. Well, we set that to have 20. Well, we're at 14 right now that are either actively serving in different branches of the military. Also the Secret Service. We have one chaplain that is a Secret Service chaplain. And if you want to know what he does, you'll have to talk to me later because I can't tell you. But it's a secret. But anyway, we have 14 right now. That's the most we have ever had at one time, either actively serving or actively preparing for the chaplaincy. So we feel like we may have to adjust that goal in the next few years. We're excited that Welch is starting the Master of Divinity program at Welch. For the first time in the history of Free Will Baptist, a young man can answer the call to be a chaplain and get every bit of his college and seminary education at a Free Will Baptist school. That's amazing to me. What an accomplishment that is. And so I hope to see some young men go through that program completely and then be able to serve our men and women of the military forces and around the world. We also set goals in number of churches we want to start, number of families we want to have working with us in those church plants as team members or lead church planners. Our goal is 55 families, 55 by 25 is kind of what we say in the office there. And so if we do that with our Hispanic churches right now, with our Hispanic churches and our Anglo churches, we have about 83 church plants right now that we oversee. If we reach these goals that we're looking at in the next 4.5 years, we'll have the largest force on the field that we've ever had as far as church plants, either as English and Hispanic as well. So God's doing some great things, and we're already seeing we're making great progress on these goals for this 5-year plan we've set, and so we're excited about that, and in all the areas of what we do. So we appreciate your support and your prayers in all that we do try to do. My report is in your digestive reports, our auditor's report, the financials. It begins on page 133, goes to page 171. I'll give you the bottom line numbers of that. You can look at those to see them for yourself at your leisure. But as I said, we ended 2019, $961,000 in the black. We ended 2020, and listen, I got to tell you, I'm thinking if we can just break even, I'll be thrilled. For 2020, we ended the year $423,000 in the black. And so thank you for your support of our church planners, your support of the things that we're trying to do for Free Will Baptist and for the body of Christ. So thank you so much for that. And we have a couple of things. We're going to have some board members to elect in just a moment. But one item of business we need to discuss at our abbreviated national last year in Nashville. I brought this up in my report there to the general board, that we would like to ask the body to vote to allow us to officially change our name. Our official name right now is, if I can remember it, it's the National Home Missions Board of the National Association of Free Will Baptists of America, Incorporated. It's like a whole page. And so we are asking you to allow us to change our name officially. We've not done that. We waited for the consent of this body to even start any kind of procedure to do that. We just checked in what we'd have to do. And so we'd like to ask you to allow us to change it to Free Will Baptist North American Ministries. Free Will Baptist or as we call it, FBNAM, FWBNAM, Free Will Baptist North American Ministries. And so we'd like to ask you if you would consider that for us today. And our board chairman, Brother Moderator, if it's appropriate, will come and can he come and make that motion? Yeah.
Well, we have to
after you do my board. Okay. Well, that is my full report.